Picture this. You're 64 years old. You've worked your entire life 40 years of alarm clocks, commutes, deadlines, and performance reviews. And you sit down with a financial advisor who opens a spreadsheet, does a little math, looks up at you and says, "You might want to think about working a few more years." That's not a nightmare. That's the actual retirement reality for the majority of Americans right now. And here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. Most people who are currently in their 30s and 40s are headed directly toward that same conversation. Not because they're lazy, not because they're stupid, but because nobody ever explained to them how retirement actually works until it was almost too late to fix it. Think about how retirement is sold to us. Work hard, save a little, and one day you'll have enough to stop. It sounds simple enough. But somewhere between that promise and reality, something goes catastrophically wrong for most people. You're grinding through your 40s mortgage, kids, car payments, maybe some student loans you're still chipping away at, and saving for retirement feels like trying to fill a swimming pool with a garden hose while someone else is draining it from the other end. Every time you think you're making progress, something comes up. The roof, the transmission, the medical bill that insurance only partially covered, and retirement, that's a future you problem. Future you will figure it out. Except future you is now in their early 60s, staring at a number that's nowhere close to enough, doing the mental math, and realizing the garden hose strategy didn't quite cut it. Here's what almost no one tells you. There are three specific financial moves, not secret investments, not anything complicated, that separate the people who retire comfortably from the people who don't. And the difference between those two groups almost never comes down to income. It comes down to a few key decisions made at the right time. My name is Tom, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, retirement psychology, and why some people seem to glide into their 60s with options, while others feel completely trapped. If you're someone who actually wants to understand the mechanics of building a retirement that doesn't terrify you, not just save more generic advice, but the actual math and decisions that matter, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what we cover here. And if this video ends up helping you see retirement differently, give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more people find this. Now, let's get into it. Before we talk about the three moves, you need to understand why most people fail at this. And it's not because they didn't try hard enough. The standard advice is to save 10–15% of your income for retirement. Fine. But nobody explains what the actual target number is, how long you'll need that money to last, or what happens if you're behind. Here's the framework. If you want to retire at 65 and live on roughly what you're living on now, let's call it $60,000 a year, you need somewhere around $1.5 million saved using the 4% withdrawal rule. That's the number most financial planners use as a sustainable annual withdrawal rate from a retirement portfolio. $5 million. Now, the median retirement savings for an American approaching retirement age is somewhere around $88,000. You heard that right. The average person nearing retirement has saved less than 6 cents for every dollar they'll need. That's not a gap, that's a canyon. Here's the first move, and it sounds almost stupidly simple. Automate your retirement contributions before you ever see the money. Most people treat retirement savings like what's left over after everything else gets paid. The mortgage, the car, the groceries, the Netflix, the gym membership they're definitely going to use starting next month. All of that comes first. And if anything's left, great. Maybe they'll move some into their 401k. The problem is, there's almost never anything left. Not because you're irresponsible, because lifestyle expands to fill whatever income is available. It's called lifestyle inflation, and it is absolutely relentless. The people who actually build retirement wealth treat their 401k contribution the same way they treat their mortgage. It's not optional, it's not discretionary, it comes out first and you live on what remains. Here's why this matters mathematically. Let's say you're 30 years old, earning $60,000, and you start contributing 15%, that's $750 a month, into a retirement account, earning an average of 8% annually. By 65, you'll have somewhere around $1.7 million. You did it. Comfortable retirement. Now let's say you wait until you're 40 to start. Same income, same contribution rate, same return. By 65, just under $700,000, less than half. Same effort, same sacrifice. A 10-year delay cost you more than $1 million. Compound interest is either working for you or against you. There is no neutral. The single most powerful retirement decision you will ever make is starting and automating as early as possible. Here's the second move, and this is where most people get genuinely tripped up. They pick a contribution percentage, set it, and never touch it again. They think they're doing the right thing, but they never actually run the numbers to see if what they're saving is anywhere close to what they'll need. This is like driving to a city you've never been to without checking how far away it is. You might be heading in the right direction, but are you going to make it? Here's the simple exercise. Take the annual income you want in retirement, be honest, not optimistic, about your lifestyle expectations and multiply it by 25. That's your target number using the 4% rule. Then go look at what you actually have saved right now, plug it into a compound interest calculator with your current monthly contributions, and see where you land at 65. Most people who do this for the first time feel one of two things: either relieved because they're actually on track, or genuinely alarmed because they're not. And here's the thing about being alarmed that's actually useful. Alarm causes action. The people who never check are the ones who end up in that advisor's office at 64 hearing the bad news for the first time. If you're behind, here's what the math usually says you can do. Increase your contribution rate by 1-2% per year, not all at once, just gradually, and redirect raises and bonuses directly into retirement instead of lifestyle upgrades. That combination, applied consistently, can close a surprising amount of the gap. The point isn't perfection. The point is knowing where you stand and adjusting before it's too late to adjust. The third move is the one nobody talks about because it's not exciting. It doesn't involve picking stocks or finding the next big thing. It's this: stop letting your retirement account become an ATM. According to Vanguard, roughly 1 in 4 people with a 401k take a loan or early withdrawal from it at some point. And I get it. Life gets hard, the emergency hits, and you think, well, I have money sitting right there, I'll pay it back. But here's what actually happens. You pull $20,000 out at age 40, you pay a 10% early withdrawal penalty plus income taxes, so that $20,000 might actually cost you $26,000 or more out of pocket once everything's settled. But more importantly, that $20,000 left in your account earning 8% for 25 years would have turned into about $137,000. You didn't just spend $20,000. You spent $137,000. You just won't feel it until you're sitting in that advisor's office. The reason this happens so often is that people treat retirement savings as a savings account, a pool of money they can tap when things get rough. But it's not a savings account. It's a time machine. Money in a retirement account is money traveling 20 or 30 years into the future, growing exponentially along the way. Every dollar you pull out early isn't just gone, it's compounding gone. This is why having a real emergency fund separate from your retirement accounts isn't optional. It's the thing that keeps you from cannibalizing your future when the present gets hard. Now, I can already hear the objection. Tom, that's all great, but I genuinely can't afford to save 15%. I'm barely making it work right now. I hear that. And I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but I'll ask you this. Can you afford 3%? Because if you have a 401k with an employer match, there's a very good chance your employer will match your contributions up to 3-4%. If you're not contributing enough to get that full match, you are leaving free money on the table. Literal free money. That is a 50% or even 100% instant return on your investment before a single market move happens. Start there, get the full match. That alone puts most people further ahead than they realize. Then, every time you get a raise, and I mean every single time, immediately redirect half of it into your retirement contribution. Your lifestyle never got used to that money yet, so you won't even miss it. Over 5 or 10 years, this is how ordinary earners end up with extraordinary retirement accounts. Let's ground this in some real numbers so you understand the scope of the problem. According to the Federal Reserve, the median retirement savings for Americans between 55 and 64, the people closest to retirement, is approximately $134,000. The recommended target for that age group is somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million, depending on your lifestyle. The gap is staggering. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tells us that Americans save on average about 6% of their disposable income. Financial planners generally recommend 10-15% specifically for retirement. We're saving less than half of what we should be as a country. And Social Security, which a huge percentage of Americans are planning to lean on heavily, pays an average monthly benefit of roughly $1,550. If you're planning a retirement where the majority of your income comes from Social Security, you're planning a retirement at the federal poverty line. Social Security was designed to supplement retirement savings, not replace them. These numbers are not meant to depress you. They're meant to show you exactly how much room there is to do better than average, because doing better than average in this department is genuinely not that hard. Here's the real reason most people don't fix this, even when they know they should. Retirement is abstract, it's far away, and the human brain is wired genuinely, neurologically wired to discount future rewards in favor of immediate ones. Psychologists call it hyperbolic discounting, and it's the same mechanism that makes it hard to say no to dessert when you're trying to eat healthy. The pleasure is now, the consequence is later. Saving for retirement asks you to make a real, tangible sacrifice today: less spending, less fun, less immediate comfort in exchange for a reward that is 20 or 30 years away. That is one of the hardest psychological asks a financial system can make of a human being. And the solution isn't willpower. Willpower runs out. The solution is removing the decision entirely, automate contributions, make it structural, make it something that happens whether you feel like it or not. That's why Move Hasson matters so much. You're not relying on your future self to make a good decision every month. You're making the decision once and letting the system take care of the rest. One cautionary note before we close. There is a version of this conversation that sends people into panic mode. They realize they're behind, they get anxious, and they start making aggressive moves to catch up, pulling from risky investments, chasing high returns, trying to time the market. I've seen this movie and it doesn't end well. Being behind is not a reason to gamble. Being behind is a reason to increase your contribution rate, reduce unnecessary expenses, and let compound interest do its job over whatever time you have left. A boring, consistent, diversified investment strategy over 20 years beats almost every high-risk shortcut attempt. Slow and boring wins this race. It has always won this race. Let me bring this home. 90% of Americans will not retire comfortably, not because retirement is impossible, and not because the system is entirely rigged against you, though some of it certainly isn't set up in your favor, mostly because nobody sat them down, ran the real numbers, and explained what it actually takes. The three moves that separate the people who make it from the people who don't are not complicated. Automate your contributions before you ever see the money, and let compound interest work for decades, not years. Actually run the math so you know whether what you're saving will be enough, and adjust if it isn't. And protect what you've built by keeping your retirement account out of reach when life gets hard, which is exactly what an emergency fund is for. You don't need to be a financial genius. You don't need to earn $200,000 a year. You need to start earlier than you think you need to, save more than feels comfortable, and resist the urge to treat your future self's money like a solution to your present problems.